Hello, my name is Second814, and I just got back from seeing The Conjuring 2. This is definitely, and I have to say, this is definitely one of the best horror movies I've ever seen. Let's just start off by saying I will go out and see the movie. You will not be disappointed. So, oh yeah, starting out. Now, basically, this movie is about the famous paranormal case known as the Enfield Poltergeist. At least that's what this movie is based off of. So, uh, a case that famous paranormal researchers Ed and Lorraine and investigated. So, oh yeah, basically, he and Lorraine Warren, they traveled to England to help out a family that's being afflicted by a poltergeist. Actually, in this movie, it's a demon, and basically the demon is centering its attacks around 11-year-old Janet. So yeah, and so, basically this movie I think excuse me. I think this movie does horror better than I've seen in a long time. And there's so many scenes in this movie that just build tension. And I will admit, one thing I really liked about this movie is how it does not use jump scares. There were so many times in this movie where I shouldn't say so many, but there were times in this movie I was anticipating a jump scare and nothing happened, except it built a lot of tension. There are some jump scares in this movie, but they are done very well. Every single one of the jump scares in this movie made me freaking I can jump at least 2 inches out of my seat. And gave me a near heart attack. So yeah, basically I thought this movie was really well done. The acting was good, and I thought that how the ghost progresses, or I should say the haunting progresses, was actually really well done too. How it starts with simple noises like maybe like footsteps, banging, and escalates into hearing voices in the dark and bed shaking, to objects flying around the room, to the point, and then and all to the point where, or I should say, objects sliding on their own, then to objects flying around to entire rooms getting destroyed, into where the demon actually showing itself. And the demon in this one is terrifying. Basically, if you've seen the trailers, the demon, you probably know that the demon is basically a evil-looking nun. And boy, is it scary. And boy, they use this nun very well. They're not having her constantly. I shouldn't say her because it's not really a her. Constantly having it pop up in places, up right when it I guess you could say should not overusing it, using the demonic nun and basically having it appear all the time in the movie. Excuse me. I think that would have been stupid to have used the nun demon all the time, but instead. And I think that one of the cool parts is the old man ghost, which they used to great effect, like having him speak, the old man ghost speak through Janet. That I thought was pretty good. There's one of my favorite scenes in the is basically shortly after the Warrens arrive, if they do an experiment with Harriet to record her sounds, record her evidence with Janet. They basically have her drink some water and hold it in her mouth to say, basically to prove that she is not faking when she goes into into this trance and is possessed by this old man ghost, because it's actually already happened once when they're there. Well, actually, no, it hasn't. When the war, actually happens once before when the girls are being interviewed on that TV station. And anyways, is basically he 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 they he what happens is. Excuse me. Getting back to the scene I was talking about. Basically, Ed starts talking to the old man spirit, whose name is Bill, and they eventually get him to talk at him to come out, and basically, I should say, manifest. And basically, the way they do it is, basically, the old man spirit won't manifest unless everybody has their backs turned to him. So everybody turns their back to him. And what they basically do is they have the camera focused on Ed, and when Janet basically goes, they have the camera. Janet basically goes blurry in the background, and what they essentially do is while the old man ghost is talking, you can basically see the blurry image of Janet in the background change from looking like a little girl to looking like something else. And that was actually pretty cool. Another scene that I liked was basically the final scene where we see the confrontation with the demon. I forget what the demon's name is. Is where basically Lorraine banishes the demon back to hell just since she knows its name. And that I thought, aim. And I should also mention that scenes with Lorraine and the nun demon are actually very well done. There's a part in the beginning where they're investigating the Amityville horror case, and Lorraine goes into this psychic trance, and she explores around the house. Basically, she goes around in the psychic trance pretending as if she's Ronald DeFeo, who actually did murder his family. But anyway, she goes around looking like she has a rifle in her hands, and basically she's going around and shooting all the DeFeo family in her vision until she basically goes into the basement where she first sees the demon nun, which is basically introduced in a series of basically she finds basically this demon boy. Well, I should say demon boy, but basically this boy with glowing eyes leads her to the basement, tells her to look at a mirror, and she pulls the mirror off, and she's looking in the mirror, and all of a sudden she sees a form appear in the background. That looks like a nun. Looks behind her, nothing there. Looks back, and then it's closer. Looks behind her, nothing there. Looks back, and then it's closer. Looks behind her, nothing there. Back, and nun's right in front of her, and the nun starts strangling her. I thought that was pretty cool. And there are scenes in this movie that might seem weird. I gotta stop. I'm going crazy. Yeah, slow down. Alright, so yeah. Those are just some pretty good scenes in the movie. There are other scenes I won't spoil right now. But yeah. But let's talk The jump scares, as I said, it got me every single time. Not one jump scare did I think was stupid. Every jump scare in this movie freaking made me jump and gave me a near heart attack. With the nun, the old man ghost, and even and even and others. There's others. There's this one scene near the end of the movie where Ed is going into the house after basically how it was to rescue Janet, who's basically being almost control, who's basically being controlled. I should say, borderline possessed by the demon. He's going into the house and he goes upstairs and he sees this little makeshift tent that one of the younger boys had set up, and in it he had this spinning thing. I'm not sure what it's called. This movie takes place in the 1970s, but basically it's like this Crooked Man song. He's looking at it, and it's playing this Crooked Man song. And it's basically what it is something you spin, like a thing that you spin in there are a series of images, and basically you spin it and you look at it, and it produces the illusion of movement. Well, actually, I shouldn't say illusion. What it does is it creates all the pictures move around rapidly to create a moving picture, or the static image that is. But anyways, so basically, all the images disappear here from this movie, here, and he looks up, and there's this like demon in there, and staring him right in the face, and that one got me. Yeah, I jumped at that one. Another scare I really liked that wasn't a jump scare was after they fled the house, the family flees the house. Oh, it's because it's basically a single mother and 4 children. They're staying at a neighbor's house, and the neighbor has this dog named Baron. And basically, Baron is basically trained to ring a bell every time he wants to go outside to do his business. So, basically, they're staying in the middle of the night, and one of the guys gets up, Thomas, I think, Hank gets up because he hears the bell ringing, and he's calling for the dog, and he finds the dog at the back door of the neighbor's house. He opens the back door, but the dog doesn't. Well, the dog is basically sitting there growling, and then all of a sudden the dog just morphs, or just kind of starts deforming and morphs into this giant freaking long-armed, scary, crooked old man thing I get. And that was one thing that I thought was really cool. And basically, he runs back, and as it comes around the corner, it's revealed that it's Janet being possessed by the old man spirit. Hear it. And basically, what she does is she screams, and basically everything goes crazy. It's like she screams and sends a burst of energy, and that might seem kind of cliche or stupid, but trust me, the way it's done, it's not. So, well, yeah. And there are those who will say that this movie, it has a lot of horror movie cliches, like somebody going up to answer the door in the middle of the night when you hear a freaking banging on on your bedroom door, like loud banging. That I thought. I mean, yeah, it has a lot of those typical horror movie decisions, like going to answer the door when you don't know who's there, but and you're just be sitting there going, no, don't open the door, don't open the door. But no, trust me, it's not. I also another thing I think he liked is how there's some of the effects they used with Janet when she's being tormented by this ghost, by the old man and ghost, Bill. Basically, there's the she starts out. Basically, what happens when the haunting is just starting, she starts waking up downstairs in a particular chair, and so she thinks she's sleepwalking. So what she does is she ties herself to her bed by basically taking what appears to be a jump rope, tying it to one into her bed and tying the other into her wrist. So if she does sleepwalk, she can't. The rope will stop her. Well, what basically, as the whole haunting progresses, about halfway through this movie, there's a scene where Janet has basically tied herself up to the bed because basically she's sleeping in her mother's room because she doesn't sleep in her room anymore. She's tied herself to the bed so she can't sleepwalk out of the room. But then she basically wakes up on the ceiling downstairs. So I should say she wakes up downstairs on the ceiling, and I think it's a really cool effect. It's like basically she wakes up, she thinks she's lying flat on her back like this, but really. But then the camera basically turns around to show that she's on the ceiling, and she actually still has the rope tied to her wrist. And so she's looking around, and she sees the old man ghost sitting in the chair. Because you learn early on that the old man actually died in the chair a while ago. Like 40 years earlier, or before the haunting started. Basically, what happened? Happens is you see the old man there. He gets up and starts slowly walking up the stairs. You hear him walk up the stairs to the girl's old room, and Janet gets sucked through the ceiling into the room. And that I thought was a cool act. And yeah, I know I'm giving a lot of plot away, but there's a lot to talk about here, and yes, I know. But seriously, this is a very, very good horror movie. So, yeah, those are some of the good, cool moments of this movie. So, I think one of the things I think was very good is the acting. The acting feels like was very good, and they react how most people would react to such phenomena going on. Like if you hear somebody knocking on your bedroom door at night, you're probably gonna get up and go answer it, unless you absolutely know there's no one else in your house. Then you might not get up and answer it, and then basically what happens is like how after the mother witnesses and the family witnesses dresser slide across the bedroom floor. They all run from the house to go stay at a neighbor's house, and that seems like a pretty typical. I mean, I shouldn't say typical. It seems realistic, I should say. I mean, come on, how exactly would you react if you witnessed a heavy dresser, or slide across the floor on its own, or if you witnessed a chair fly across the roof, or slide across the floor? Or there's this one part where after the family flees the house, the neighbor calls the police. He has them come investigate, and while the police are there after they search the house for an intruder, they're standing and they're talking, and they all hear they're banging. So one of the police officers asks for a chair, gets on the chair and listens, and says it's coming from the wall. And after she gets down from the chair literally slides. Slides back all the way back to where. Excuse me. It literally slides all the way back to where it was. It slides into down the hall, all to where in front of the kitchen, and slides back to where it was in the kitchen. And then you see the police officers kind of leaving the house. Leaving the house in a quick stab, which I think was funny. And I should mention that there were some genuine funny moments in this movie. Yeah, as well as moments that aren't scary. That are still good. Which I thought was which when I was watching it, I didn't exactly think was great. But now I think back to it, I actually think that those scenes were good. There's this one part where Ed and Lorraine Warren are there, and basically what happens is Ed has basically bought the children a record of Elvis, but it won't play. So Elvis, excuse me. So Ed takes the dad's or the ex-husband's guitar and basically plays his I Can't Help Falling in Love with You by Elvis Presley, which is actually a pretty good scene. I'll admit I was singing along to that. And I was kind of expecting a paranormal event to break it up, but it never does, which I think was actually a pretty good thing to do, because it's kind of cliche to have stuff like that ruined by paranormal in these movies. Another thing I think was done well that probably would have been done well in other horror movies is basically in the beginning of the movie, he basically cuts back and forth between the Hodgkin family and the Warren residence. It basically cuts back and forth between the two. So we see the paranormal happenings at the Hodgkin residence, the residence in the movie, and paranormal happenings at the Warren residence. Although, I mean, there's really only one paranormal happening there, involving the demonic nun. But that's about I'll go into detail about that, because that scene is critical to the rest of the movie, and I won't spoil that here. So yeah, that was a pretty good now, and I like the ending of this movie. Basically, the ending of after they're done with the hauntings and the demon's been banished back to hell, we see here the text of how of what happened after the haunting, and then it actually ends at the Warren's residence with Ed and Lorraine Warren dancing to Elvis Presley, "I Can't Help Falling in Love with You." I think that's the name of the song. So yeah, that was actually pretty good. Yeah, that I thought was pretty good. And as I said, now I want to talk about and now I know I've been covering the paranormal events throughout this whole review, but I just want to talk briefly about how they're executed. which is the strong point of this movie. Like I've said multiple times in this review, the jump scares are very good in this movie. Are very, very good. Good. And the paranormal normal events actually feel like real paranormal events. It feels like a good escalation instead of, you know, one day, hey, hey, it's tapping. At 1 minute it's tapping and begin footsteps. The next minute there's objects swirling around the room. Boom. Boom. I thought that was great. So yeah. And like I said, acting is great in this movie. The acting really make it he is able to convey what's going on there. I mean, on in the situations in this movie. And I think so. Yeah, and I need to. And if I go much longer, I'm going to be here. And this is going to be like a 45-minute video, and I don't want it to be that. So, anyways, yeah. So, final verdict for The Conjuring: 9 out of 10. 10. Would I recommend this movie? Absolutely. You go out and see it. If you're a horror fan and if you're a non-horror fan. And just to give yourself nightmares. And yes, it sounds like that might sound a little weird, but come on. I think everybody needs to have at least one or two nightmares every now and then. So basically, yeah, The Conjuring 2, 9 out of 10. Go see it. And well, that about wraps it up for this video. My name is Second1814. Thank you so much for watching. May the wind always be at your back. See you next time.